New Orleans Saints head coach Sean Payton, who has had a tremendous amount of success, but he's also got great taste in where to go to the beach. I was just telling you off air, around Thanksgiving, my family always gets down to the Gulf Coast area, the 30A community for people who haven't been there. I kind of hesitate to talk about it because there's too many people coming.
It's a little bit like a secret, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we look at it that way.
Yeah, so many people from Louisiana, Texas, Nashville, where I live, Atlanta area. We all go down to the Gulf Coast. It's the best beaches, I think, in the continental United States.
Absolutely.
And the people are incredibly friendly.
Absolutely.
And so you were down there at Thanksgiving. I was just telling you, you were hanging out. I think I went by. You were biking or whatever, and I was biking going the other way with my kids. But the season is over. And what does it feel like for you when the season ends, especially the last 3 ways that your seasons have ended? I mean, it's just unbelievable final play situations.
Yeah, I think the unique thing about our game, different than baseball, basketball, or hockey, is that immediate elimination. The idea that, you go into a weekend, you're going to play a game on Sunday for the most part, and that Monday you're coming back preparing for the next game, or Monday you're actually in a meeting with exit interviews.
It's crazy.
It's
like the NCAA tournament a little bit, where a shot goes up and you're either going on or you're not.
That's it. And so, which I think makes for an exciting postseason.
Yes.
And it's not best of 7 or best of 5. So that finality is always challenging. And and then our staff will. There's 2 things that have to take place when the season ends. Obviously, there's time away for the coaches and everyone involved. And then secondly is the first thing is evaluating your own team.
Yeah.
So before we head into free agency, we're going to sit and go through each player on the roster, grade each player, talk about the vision with each player. And I think that's hard to do right after the season's over with. I think that requires maybe a week before you get into doing that. And so there's here we are now, Super Bowl weekend, and you're kind of already thinking ahead. And yet when you land and you come here and we're doing what we're doing right now, there is that, like, gosh, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing like it. And once you've done it, and it was here 10 years ago, in fact, and had success and won it, it'll consume you until you're retired.
I think there's an argument that the Saints are beloved in New Orleans more than any team is beloved in their city across the entire nation. And part of that's the Hurricane Katrina connection and what you guys represented to the city. But also, if you just look at television viewership or the number of Saints flags when you're down in New Orleans. I was just down there for the game between LSU and Clemson.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the vibe and the vibrancy of it is just incredible. Do you get that feeling that even traveling around as you have all over the NFL?
I would say the one thing unique about the market, and when you put pins on where your fans are coming from that have season tickets, and we've been sold out, thankfully, since 2006. There's, I think, 40,000 people on a waiting list for season tickets. It's a Gulf, for all the SEC football.
Yes.
You go LSU, you go Auburn, Alabama, Mississippi State. You go on and on with teams that are playing football. There's really only one NFL team. You have to go, Atlanta, you're out of the Gulf South now a little bit. Houston, if you're going west. And
Nashville if you go far north.
Right.
But that's a big
Green
area.
Bay would be a similar.
Yeah,
when
you're like a regional team.
Yeah, when you put pins on where your fan base is coming from on game day, it's not just Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Right.
And it's not just downtown New Orleans. I mean, we're drawing from, you get back to 38. I feel like not because we live there, but I feel like that's a Saint fan base.
Yeah. Oh, there's tons.
Yeah. And in other words, now, obviously, the people coming in from Atlanta are Falcon fans, but that strip there, and then pretty soon 2 more hours you get to Florida State, and you're back to the college game. But no, it's a great fan base, and obviously one that I think provides a great environment for us for home games especially.
You talked about how you have to make decisions in the offseason about what your team's going to look like going forward. Drew Brees seems like he's trying to decide whether or not to come back.
Yeah, he is, and it starts with him.
Yeah.
I mean, relative to the quarterback decision, we met after the season prior to the Pro Bowl. He'll take time with his family, and we'll be on the same page. He played at an extremely high level, and we're hopeful he's coming back, and yet respect that time that he needs to make the right decision.
So how does that process work? I'm fascinated by that. You guys obviously have a special relationship as coach and player, and he's a first-ballot NFL Hall of Famer who's done unbelievable, and he's also been tremendous for your community and his family and everything else. So you talk after the season. Do you tell him, hey, let's make a decision by February 20th? Is there a date in your
No.
mind where the decision needs to be made?
Well, there's a soft date, I'm sure, but that's not to your question. How does that conversation go? It's how are you feeling? It's frustrating. We're talking about the game.
Yeah.
You go into the Pro Bowl, yes, and he's going to bring his family. And it's just every day again you're talking about your game plan, and all of a sudden now you're just talking about what are your plans here the next few weeks. Take some time, get away from it, and both of us, I'll bet we chatted for maybe 20, 25 minutes. And I know he's back. He's going to travel back to San Diego and spend time there. And
when do you anticipate hearing? And how do you anticipate? You think he'll call you, or you think you'll have a face-to-face?
We'll touch base probably. It would probably be more likely on the phone just to get an update where he's at. I mean, we've got time before free agency starts, but obviously that leads you to the Teddy Bridgewater, who was going to be a free agent.
And had a phenomenal job, did his phenomenal job stepping in for you.
He was outstanding. Taysom Hill, who's a restricted free agent. There are other pieces, and Drew understands that. So
if Drew retired, do you think that Taysom Hill or Teddy Bridgewater would be your quarterback now, one of those guys?
I think there's a real good chance. I mean, we felt like we had a great room.
Yeah.
And Drew, for the first time really since he's been there, he missed one game prior to this season. But now all of a sudden he missed 5 because of a thumb injury, a kind of a freak injury. And, man, Teddy came in and did a fantastic job. So, yeah, my best guess would be that if he were to retire, there's a good chance one of those two guys would be and hopefully maybe we find a way to keep both of them.
Well, you've done an incredible job finding a guy like Taysom Hill, who's almost a Swiss Army knife in terms of the way that you can use him in a variety of different fashions. Do you think that he could be a full-time starter in NFL?
Absolutely.
And you anticipate that at some point he will be a full-time starter?
Sooner than later.
Yeah,
sooner than later.
And what did you see in him that made you believe that he had that capability?
We were watching the process of us finding him. It really started looking at Max McCaffrey, a practice squad candidate receiver off of Green Bay's roster. So when the training camp ends, one of the challenges with one cut down as opposed to 2 is everyone goes from 90 to 53.
Yes.
All right, so take that. I'm not real good at math. And then
That's a lot of guys.
Times it by 32.
Yeah.
And then very quickly you're counting all of these players and you're evaluating to see if you want to put a claim in.
Right.
And so our order, I think we were 11th in the claim that year. And look, making a decision on acquiring a practice squad player is an easy one.
Yes.
You're not having to use a claim. But to claim a player, you've got to have conviction and feel like, hey, I want to work with this guy. So we put a claim in for Taysom. Watching Max, we were able to start seeing him, and then I called Jeff in Ireland, our head of scouting. I said, hey, let's watch more of this player.
Yeah.
What don't we like about him?
Yeah.
And the more we watched, the more you just saw the traits. And fortunately, we were awarded the claim. We got him with and so for the fans, that claim basically puts him on your roster immediately. You have to have a spot. And so that's how we acquired him. It started with us looking at another player.
Yeah.
Watching him play. And the vision initially wasn't what it became.
Right.
We knew he had good speed. We knew he had good size. The vision really began, it was quarterback first, and it still is, but then one week, we have an extra player who's injured. Our inactives are now at 8. We take Taysom and put him on kickoff and punt, and then it just grew. But he's going to be a starting quarterback in our league.
We're talking to Sean Payton, the New Orleans Saints head coach, who's had an incredible run. Antonio Brown came in, and you tried him out. Did he bring his own? There was talk that he might have brought a film crew with him or something like that.
I missed the element where he brought the film crew. They came to the workout. He came to the workout. I think they showed up in the training room and quickly we shooed them away. But no,
have you ever had that happen before, where a guy shows up with a film crew?
I can't. It was unique.
Yeah.
But
when they come to you and
him.
they say, hey, he's got a film, were you like, are you kidding me?
No, we're not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, that's
doing that. Yeah,
right?
we're not doing that.
But that's probably something you haven't even had an issue with before, right? To even think of.
Yeah, that's right. And so, look, with players like that, you want to meet and make your own evaluation.
Yeah.
And spend time with. And we were a few weeks prior to the playoffs, and I know we were wanting to make sure, hey, where are our options here?
Yeah.
If we have an injury, is this a player that can help us now? The bottom line is this player going to be available to play, or is he going to be on the commissioner's exempt list?
Right.
And if that's the case, then we're really just meeting and visiting with the player. So it's not uncommon we bring players in, work players out. And in that case, obviously, because of where he's at, and hopefully he can get things straightened out. He's a talented player, but he needs to figure things out.
Do you think he'll play in the NFL again?
That's a great question. I'm pulling for him. I hope so because, man, he's exceptional, and I'd love to see it.
Last question for you. We're here, Super Bowl 54. I know you played a hell of a game, maybe the best game of the year in terms of just a pure fan viewership against the San Francisco 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo played a heck of a game. Drew Brees played a heck of a game. It was amazing. What do you expect to see in this one between the Saints, between the Chiefs and the 49ers?
No, both teams have great team speed. Offensively, when you watch these guys, I mean, when you watch the Chiefs on film, we see a lot of their film because of opponent studies this year. You feel their speed. They get to the seams, and the quarterback Patrick can really extend plays and give you fits. San Francisco, you feel it in the running game. Deebo Samuel, I think, has had a phenomenal rookie season. Each week he's gotten better and better. He's going to get 2 or 3 handoffs. He'll be involved in the running game. Obviously, the defenses are playing. They're entirely different how they play defensively. But I think from a fan standpoint, you're getting, 2 of the hottest teams, but 2 of the fastest teams.
Yeah, for sure. When are you going to get back to the beach?
Man, hopefully sooner than later. Probably here just after Mardi Gras.
Yeah. Well, how many Mardi Gras have you been to in a row? Do you always go?
No, Mardi Gras when you're in New Orleans is a great opportunity to leave and go somewhere else. And I mean that because the kids are off school.
It's just so crazy, yeah.
Yeah, and so we try to always center a vacation around Mardi Gras. This year it's a little bit into our combine.
Yeah.
But you see a lot of New Orleanians skiing or at Disney. You see them at these vacation places during that week. And look, it's a fun week though. You got to worry about your traffic. It's not in the French Quarter. It's not in Bourbon Street. It's uptown, and you got to be on point when you're driving home. And not get caught.
You get to live in an amazing city in New Orleans. You get to go to a beach in an amazing area, too. And you got a hell of a football team. Seems like a pretty good life.
Yeah, listen, I'm fortunate and blessed.
Thank you very much. Sean Payton, New Orleans Saints head football coach. Good luck with the Drew Brees decision, and be interested to see what happens.
Yeah, thank you.
Got some good options in that quarterback room, even if he decides to leave.
Absolutely.
Clay Travis here. Hope all of you are enjoying Fox Sports Radio on YouTube. Encourage you to like and subscribe to all of our videos to make sure you don't miss any of the excellence. Thanks, and enjoy.